Welcome to Health and Wellness Channel Radio on 1490 WGCH. The program today, Your Mind Matters. I'm Dr. Shinitzky, along with my co-author, Dr. Christopher Cortman, of Your Mind, an Owner's Manual for a Better Life.
It's great to be here once again, and today we have a special guest.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're excited about today's show because we have Mr. Colin Skinner, a personal trainer, and someone who's here to talk about the myths of getting in shape. Now, one of the more prevailing myths is no pain, no gain. And before we bring our guest speaker into this, I wrote a little poem on the way up today called, appropriately, No Pain, No Gain. And I'd like to share it with all of you.
Please do.
Here we go. You can run the beach in the morning or later in the pouring rain. You can run from the stress in your office or from the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. You could run to be leader of the entire free world and begin your 4-year reign. Or run from allegations you like the ladies too much, just like Herman Cain. But if you want a body sculpted like marble, just listen to this familiar refrain. If you want to look like Arnold, remember, no pain, no gain. Preacher man say to lift up your troubles, and to God confess with your mouth. Trainer man says you lift those weights to make those biceps stand out. But if you want to lift your spirits, as the brand new research points out, better quit doing the 12-ounce curl and lift your butt off the couch. And if you want a body sculpted like marble, just listen to this familiar refrain. If you want to look like Arnold, remember, no pain, no gain. Getting in shape ain't for sissies. Looking good requires some work each day. Don't matter if Richard Simmons ain't your cup of tea. His workout melts the fat away. So you can walk the plank like a pirate or your route like the postal guy. But the doctor says walk 10,000 steps a day, especially 'cause your blood pressure's too high. Better heed my words of warning. I don't mind saying them yet again. If you want to feel great in the morning, just remember, no pain, no gain. Because no matter how clever your insights or how much you think you might know, there will be no TV for Shinitzky and me, so they just give us a radio show. No pain, no gain, no pain, no gain. Unless we can look like Arnold again, we'll be keeping our radio show.
Solid. You know, what's so great is the point that you're making there. It's so impressive that too many times we have a way of looking at the whole health, fitness, workout routine, and people dive in, but unfortunately really aren't aware of what they need to be as successful as possible, and that's what you're saying right there.
And now we're going to, I think, take some tests to determine just how much we really know about getting in shape and staying in shape, Dr. Shinitzky. And I know I didn't study for these tests, but our trainer, Mr. Skinner, is here to tell us.
Well, welcome.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you. Basically, what I have in front of you, and you should be filling out or looking at filling out, is just a basic anatomy sheet. I just want to see what you know about the muscle groups in the body. I mean, we know about our automobiles and our cell phones, and we know how those things operate, and 90% of America, they do not know how the body even operates before they even partake in any kind of fitness program, nutritional program, or any kind of program. So
that does seem to be true.
So basically, this is a ground-based information. There's, unfortunately, there are right and wrong answers, but I am just looking for your baseline of information so I know what we're dealing with here. So
this will be fun.
Go ahead and have you started? I'm not sure if you started or have you looked at it. Okay, I know Dr. Cortman has.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's start with the frontal part of the body. And the first muscle group that you have on your sheet, what would that be called?
Looks like bicep.
Well, are you on the left
I'm on the
side there?
front.
Because I got the
I'm on the
pecs.
front.
Oh, we
I
got the pecs on the
pecs.
front
Yeah,
here.
you're on the front of the human body anatomy, and you're looking, and I would like you to, we're just going to go down basically from the top to the bottom.
Well, Dr. Shinitzky keeps his pecs where his biceps should be and vice versa. It's kind of a cool thing he has going.
That's what I'm talking about, exactly. So let's go down with the first one.
I got you.
So,
Anybody?
Pectoralis major.
Yay, also known as the chest.
And then we've got the delt.
You got it, or known as the shoulder. And then go to the opposite
To
side.
the right side. That's where I was at. We got the bicep.
Triceps,
Okay, you
yeah.
guys know the bicep.
And the abdominals, the abs,
Yep, and you got on the opposite side of the abs,
the intercostals.
external obliques.
Obliques.
Oh, the oblique. Well, you're back on the left
Well,
side.
I'm going down, so like if you're looking at the sheet, we're going in order of the line. So it's
And for those of you who are driving right now and you have this sheet of paper, make sure that you're paying attention to which side of the image that we're looking
okay.
at.
So then we're continuing down on the right side if you're looking at it, and that would be the internal obliques.
Okay.
Okay, so then we go down to the leg group below the waist. What would that? Anybody know that one?
Are we on the left
Oh,
side?
you're
now?
on the left side, working down now. Yes.
Well, we're doing the inner thighs and the groin
Well, that's
there,
the
right?
Pull the
it's
groin.
called the iliopsoas, which is on the inside.
I thought you were steering away from the Latin.
Well, that was just the iliopsoas. There's no other name for the iliopsoas. The one below that was the Latin one. That's the tensor fascia latae. But you don't need to worry about that. And
That's a drink at
I was gonna
Starbucks,
say,
isn't it?
that's not a drink at Starbucks. Okay, so on the inside of the thigh, looking at you, what would that muscle group be?
Which side are we
Talking
on?
about the
Inside.
groin or the
Inside.
hamstring? Also.
Well, it's close. Those are the adductors. Okay. And as we work down to above the knee, what would that be?
We got the quads there.
Got it. Quadriceps.
Right.
And then the last one on the front,
Well, that's the shin.
or tibius anterior.
Now you're back to the
Well,
Latin
there's
you
some
promised
things.
we
Okay.
wouldn't have to take.
So now we're turning over to the back side of the human body, and we're going to start down with the first one.
Traps.
You
Traps.
got it. And in the middle of the back, what would that be called?
Good one.
I left that one for Dr. Shinitzky.
Dr. Shinitzky.
I left that one for Colin.
Those are the rhomboids. Those are in the center of the back.
Oh. I
And
knew
that's a
that
muscle
at
group
one
called
time.
the rhomboids.
That's a good T.
Okay. Now the one down below that,
Those are the latissimus dorsi,
you got the Latin even.
the lats.
The lats.
Big glute.
And the one right there on the same side is the lats.
Those are the triceps.
Awesome. And in the middle of the back, what is that called? And the lower middle.
That's Shinitzky's turn. I got the last two.
Colin, how about you?
Those are erector spinae. Okay. Now our favorite ones in the whole world.
The glutes.
You got
The
it.
gluteus maximus and minimus.
All right, which one's which?
The minimus is on top.
You got it. Or the medius. Gluteus medius, gluteus maximus.
That was a Roman emperor, I believe, 500 BC.
That was after Flavius. Flavius
Okay, next-
with a large clock.
Next muscle group.
Hamstring?
Flavius Flatulus? Who was? Sorry,
That is correct, Dr. Shinitzky. Hamstrings. And the last two,
those are the calves.
or gastrocs and emuses and the soleus.
And they hurt.
Okay, so we're not going to grade them, but basically, you need to know those muscle groups before you can even apply exercises, or just at least know the generic names: quads, biceps, triceps, shoulders, before you can even. And you have to know how those things work. That would be like jumping in a car and not knowing how a car operates. If you go join a fitness facility, you're going to jump into a machine. You don't know how it operates. Then your body, you don't know how it operates. And then what are you going to do? You're going to spend time.
Excuse me, tell us what we would need to know now that we know what all these major and minor muscle groups are. What is it that we want to do with those muscles, Mr. Skinner?
Well, as a trainer, they're personal training for a reason, because everybody's at a personal best or personal worst, depending on where you're at in life. Most people, 90% of all people, need conditioning before they can even exercise. They need to condition their body to exercise instead of, jumping into these boot camps or these fitness classes where everybody in the front row's in shape, everybody in the back row's out of shape, and everybody in the back row really needs the help, but they feel they have to keep up. So basically, it's an individual.
You're talking about a personalized plan.
I'm talking about people that have different needs and different reasons why. If you don't have a strong enough reason why to even partake in getting in shape or working on yourself, it's not going to work. That's the facts. If you're doing it for your girlfriend or you're doing it because you're going to a wedding, it has to be a lifestyle, and it's a mind-body connection. So it's a lot more than joining a gym or getting on this new fad diet or this new program, because you're not putting a mind-body connection into it.
You know, it's kind of interesting. We oftentimes talk about no one changes unless the cost of not changing is more than the cost of changing. And in our country, the United States, we're the most obese, industrialized country of any country in the world. So we have great knowledge. So it's not just the knowledge. There's something in there that you're talking about, that it has to really fit your needs as an individual.
Absolutely. You have to have a reason why. Why would I even think about getting in shape? I mean, men usually get the scare from the doctor. The doctor says, Dr. Shinitzky, you got high blood pressure and you're on the verge of type 2 diabetes. Well, those two things can be treatable through weight resistance training, cardiovascular training, a proper nutritious, healthy, fun eating, water intake, hobbies, and a spiritual life. I mean, it's a lifestyle. You don't brush your teeth once a day or once a week. You do it because it's your health care. It's your dental health care. So why wouldn't you put that same effort into your life, into your being, which is priceless?
Bring us back to some of these myths now. Tell us some of the myths
that's a
of
great,
getting in shape.
Great idea. I got a little true and false questions here that I wrote up last night, and here we go. These are based on myths, and we're just going to go through it because basically what I'm going to discuss here is the myth of body fat and how it is correlated to the human body. So number one, when trying to lose body fat, 2 to 3 meals a day is recommended. True or false?
I'd say false.
I'd say
you
false.
guys are correct. And why would you say false? Is it?
I believe what we're taught to do with the most recent information that we have is to eat 6 small meals a day.
Yeah, smaller meals, quantity.
That is correct. In a timely fashion, and it's normally every 2 to 3 hours you should be consuming some sort of protein, carbohydrate balanced, not one without the other, nutritional meal.
And by the way, on the flip of that, starving yourself to just not eat and then gorging at the end of the day, which oftentimes people do, is incredibly counterproductive.
Absolutely. I use an analogy all the time when I train people to let them really get a mind body. And it's usually I use an analogy of, I'm from Maine, so you got 2 guys living in Maine, both in a cabin. One guy starts his wood stove up in Maine with, paper, cardboard paper, newspaper, and the guy who lives right next to him has the same furnace. He starts his up with kindling, with oak and dry wood, and it's kind of the same thing as human bodies are. If you put in trash in the morning, you're going to start and stop your machine. If you continue with good quality fuel, such as oak or like protein, clean protein and carbohydrate, you actually your body's a furnace. It starts to rage with your metabolism. So every 3 hours with healthy food versus, you're going to drive that power bar, and then 4 hours later you're going to grab something at the quick stop, or you keep shutting down your body and you're actually starving it. It's making it worse and more unhealthy.
Another myth?
Number 2, if you want to remove fat from the back of your arms, and we know that as the tricep area, tricep extensions with a dumbbell or a rope is the preferred exercise.
I'd like to say that I enjoy the fat below the triceps, because it's like when grandmothers wave and then their tricep continues to wave goodbye long after we've left.
Yes.
I'd hate to see them lose that. It's kind of a charming part of leaving grandma's house.
I know, but we're trying to find out if this is true or false.
Yeah, good point.
I'll go with true because I enjoy focusing on that muscle group.
Okay.
I'm going to go with false only because I don't think that there's any kind of spot reduction, that you can't just lose fat from any area by exercising that area.
Oh, you're so smart, Dr. Corman. That is correct.
I should have a show.
You should. There is no such thing as spot training. So anytime
You're
you
listening
see a
to
gadget,
Health and
a gizmo, or
Wellness
something
Channel
on TV
Radio.
that says, lose weight, and let's define weight. We can do that later. Lose weight and look like this. As far as I'm concerned, they're lying to the consumer. People are just whipping out a checkbook or their credit card, and they think they're going to look like the model who has invested all his adult life to look like that so he could get paid to endorse that product. And unfortunately, as you're sitting in bed at night, eating your bonbons, looking at this model on this piece of equipment, you're going to say, wow. They're going to ride your guilt, whip out your credit card. Here it comes in a box. It shows up at your door. You got to put it together. You're not mechanically inclined. You're like, wow, I don't even know what to do with this thing. You jump on it. You're so heavy and so fat because you're not conditioned to even use it properly. Then you get frustrated. You're sore. You throw it up on eBay or Craigslist, and out the door it goes. So,
You know, it's interesting looking at the lifestyle idea that you're talking about. Just to let everyone who's listening know that the research in terms of making this a lifestyle and having it a kind of a multiple discipline that you're doing about your diet, about your exercise, about your spirituality, about your stress levels. The research talks about how you can decrease coronary heart disease and stroke and risk factors from some cancers, blood pressure issues, improving your metabolism, increasing your bone density, all of which is by making it a lifestyle issue. And that's something that you just do as a New Year's resolution for the month of January.
And you know, excuse me, Dr. Shinitzky, we as psychologists have so much new research out. In fact, this month's issue of the American Psychologist Association Monitor on the front cover is about exercise and mental health. And the new research is claiming that by exercising, we reduce anxiety, we reduce depression. We're much more likely to live happier, more fulfilled lives. You know, there's a fantastic study out of Duke that demonstrates that exercise was superior to the antidepressant Zoloft in a head-to-head competition with depressed subjects. And the most significant aspect of it was the recidivism rate, whereas 38% of the people who took Zoloft end up relapsing. Only about 8% of the people who exercised relapsed. It was an incredible study that demonstrated before you get on any pill, maybe you want to consider exercise as one of the best treatments to depression or for depression.
It's a great point. We were always taught at Hopkins that the first line of any intervention is not medication. It is a lifestyle behavioral intervention.
Absolutely.
First.
But again, you have to go back to the reason why.
Sure.
If you don't have that why power, you know, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to get the information that you need to do it correctly.
Hit us with the next one.
All right, next one. Cardiovascular exercise should be done at the end of the day to work off all that food you ate all day long.
False.
I do true because I like staying up really late.
Well, it's false. To lose body fat efficiently, cardiovascular actually should be done in the morning on an empty stomach. And the reason why that is because you usually, on a healthy, structured, nutritional, happy, healthy diet meal plan, you will be eating no later than 7 o'clock in the evening of the previous day. So based on that, you get 8 hours of good quality sleep. You wake up in the morning on an empty stomach. You do your cardiovascular in your target fat burning zone, which a lot of people have no clue to what I'm talking about there as well. And science has proven factually that you do lose more body fat in the morning cardiovascular on an empty stomach than you will do in the evening.
Hit us with the next myth.
Next myth. The faster your heart rate, the more body fat you burn.
I don't think so. I think that's false also. But I think we have to get our heart rate up to a certain level. The idea is not to explode our heart.
That's correct.
Yeah, I thought it was 80%
Well,
of...
again, there's a formula, and it's based on, 220 minus your age, minus your resting heart rate. There's a formula that we give, or I give, and depending on your level of cardio, it's got to be within 65. I like to go 85. The book says 90, but I don't like to push it that high. I'd rather go longer in the duration of your target heart rate. So, for example, if it's supposed to be 150, we should sustain that for at least 20 to 30 minutes. And, of course, the more fit you get, the longer and more healthier and the better it will be.
You know, it's interesting when you were talking about on that last myth that if you get started in the morning and you do this, as you're saying, to a 60 to 90%, that you're actually kicking your metabolism into gear. So the entire day you're burning off calories.
Exactly. And actually, when you consistently, here's a great thing, okay? When you consistently eat every 3 hours, you're metabolically active. When you do your cardio and your target heart rate, you're metabolically active. When you drink enough water in your day, you're metabolically active. When you break the muscle down in the gym, you're not building, and you repair it with the protein that you need, you're metabolically active. So everything in the piece of the pie that I say, fitness, water, nutrition, all of it increases your metabolism. So everything that you're doing, you're actually, like, I could be sitting here right now and be a furnace on fire. So that's correct.
You look like
Well, thank you. All right, next myth. How about this? A bowl of cereal, toast, and juice is a great meal to start your day.
False again.
False. And why?
Because you can't trust the cereal companies. So I thought you should eat every morning.
Dr. Shinitzky?
I'm thinking you need other items
Such
in the
as?
morning to be able. Well, I'm thinking the
what
fruits you
kind
want to
of-
be able to
is
get
it
in
kind
there. Oh, well, I'm going
Small
with
mammals.
the small
Okay,
amounts.
let's
I'm
break
going
it.
with
We're
the
gonna break it down.
grapefruit.
We're gonna
And
break fibers, carbohydrates, okay? Which is a natural.
That's what I meant
Which
to
is
say.
great, okay? It's better than driving a Snickers bar down your throat in the morning. Having an apple would be great. But where's the balance in that? What do we need in conjunction?
Protein.
Hey, very good. Okay.
So the eggs that I
Egg
enjoy.
white or eggs, you know, we'll get into all that later, but yeah, you want a balanced nutritional meal.
Sure.
Okay. To lose fat in your butt, lunges, squats, and wide duck squats for high repetitions is the preferred method to lose the fat in your glutes. True or false?
That goes back to the previous question about spot reduction. So we're going to stay with false.
You guys are correct. That's false. So we all got that. We understand that there's no spot training. It's not going to happen. You need a lifestyle. All right, we're going to just skip down here to, I like number 11. As you age, the older you get, you cannot get in shape because you're too old. True or false?
False.
I would say false, though I've always been told that after 30 you're fighting a losing battle, so you better start
Usually
fighting.
it's laziness that you're fighting
Yeah.
because we do get lazy as we age, but that is false. That's correct. It's never too late to start exercising. In fact, your body wants you to take care of it. And let's go for the last one. Working out with weights in your house or at the gym builds muscle. True or false?
True.
I would go with as long as you're working out.
False. You're actually breaking the body down.
Okay.
You're not building anything in the gym. You're not building anything with weights.
That's true.
You are
break
breaking
it down, but then it
Well,
grows
how
when
do
you go home and sleep.
Again, how do you build muscle?
So you tear it, and then the
There you
protein.
go. The
that you
amino
take
acids from the
rebuilds.
protein that you ingested through the 5 meals that you.
Trick
It
question.
really was tricky.
All right, and that's it for those for my miss.
You know, it's interesting that all too often an individual will come in and talk about having kind of a low mood, maybe not feel good about themselves, hasn't been physically active. And not only does the research show it, but clinically. I mean, how many times, Dr. Cortman, have you had a patient that you've worked with who's come in and you've actually encouraged them, participate in something at least 3 times a week if you're going to do a cardiovascular, if you're going to go 30 minutes minimum, and to hear them talk about there's that elevation in their mood, that they feel better, they feel that they look better, they have more energy.
It's called the Food and Drug Administration for a reason. Food is a drug. Ask anybody that's hungry and tired. You know, they're grumpy and cranky. But that's all I have as far as the myths.
Well, let's go back to a previous myth, if you would.
Okay.
You know, we were talking about being older and having a harder time getting in shape. There is some truth to the notion that we burn less calories than we used to, that our metabolism slows down. Is that not true?
Well, we are fighting an aging process. And the
Yes.
only thing on this planet that is known to reduce the aging process without going under the knife would be health, nutrition, fitness, exercise. When you break the body down, and as we age, we get older, and the body breaks down naturally. That's why all the research, all the doctors, and anybody has said weight resistance training with a proper nutritional eating habit will help you sustain life and be healthier. And your body begs it to be. We're really good at killing ourselves and really bad at taking care of it. Because as a country, we're quick. Everything has to be fast. You know, fast food has killed this country. The quick, let me write a check for my health. I mean, go to Sarasota Memorial Hospital. There's lots of millionaires that would just love to write a check for their health. And they can't. They drank, they smoked, they were bad, they bought everything. They were, because they could write a check. Instant gratification. Again, we spend time. We don't invest time in ourselves. And that's big problem.
I had actually treated a woman who was, visually, you would look at her and say that she was an attractive, well put together individual, and she never worked out, she ate terribly, and she would get liposuction on a fairly regular basis. And that was her form of being, or her method to be able to look appropriate for society.
You have to say, well, how is she feeling mentally?
Yeah, she's probably
Absolutely.
the unhealthiest, healthy-looking person.
The thing is, when you go on these fad diets or you do these quick fixes, it has like a shock spring, like recoil into the body. I mean, you go one direction, then all of a sudden, and that's why how many people out there has known a friend that got on this fad diet, that joined this thing and got that book, and all of a sudden they lost weight. And I was going to define weight. Let's talk about that for a minute. When these I won't say stupid, when these people are trying to sell you stuff, what do they say? Lose 5 to 10 pounds of, we don't know. They say weight. Well, let's go back into the body. You got water, you got muscle, you got bones, and then you have fat. So if fat is the issue, fat is what we have to talk about, not weight, because I can have somebody come into my gym or my facility and say, well, you want to make that scale move because they're scale watchers? I want to lose 5 pounds. So what do? They just do something. I can sit them in a steam room. I can make them lose some water. I can wrap them up in a wrap, and then they can shrink into the shrink wrap, and then they come out and they get on a scale and say, Yahoo, I lost 5 pounds.
And it's not long term.
Right. They're
effective.
yo-yos. It's up and down.
Let me conclude with a story of a 70-year-old man who came in to see the doctor. And the doctor was amazed by his fantastic health and said, I am so impressed with your numbers here. You're in terrific shape. What do you attribute this to? And he said, well, I have a good active lifestyle. In fact, I just got off the golf course. And the doctor said, wow, that's great. Well, how old was your father when he died? And the patient said, did I say he was dead? And he said, really, your father's still alive? How old is he? He said he's 92. He golfed with me this morning. Wow, said the doctor. Excuse me. How old was your grandfather when he died? And the patient said, did I say he was dead? And the doctor said, you're kidding me. Your grandfather's still alive? Yeah. Well, how old is he? Well, he's 113. 113? Well, don't tell me that he was on the golf course with you this morning. No, he couldn't be, actually. Well, why not? He was getting married. He's 113 and he wanted to get married? Did I say he wanted to?
I had a patient who came in, and we were sitting there with a nutritionist, and he had a cucumber up his nose, a banana in his ear, and a strawberry in his left hand. And he turned to us and he said, what's wrong with me? And the nutritionist said, you don't eat properly. I want to thank you all for being able to join us today for Your Mind Matters, talking about the myths of exercise and fitness.
And a special thank you to our guest, Mr. Colin Skinner, personal trainer.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it, and I feel so lucky and blessed to be on your show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
Join
to
us
have you
next
here.
week when we'll have Dr. Juliet Coleman, a neurologist, here to address issues of dementia and Alzheimer's.
You've been listening to the Health and Wellness Channel Radio on 1490 WGCH.